If these allegations fail, the SPLC fights another day. And if they hold, then one of America's greatest gatekeepers may have exposed something much bigger than fraud. It may have exposed what happens when institutions sit too long beyond accountability. And maybe the deepest irony of all is that those dismissed for questioning the accuser may have a reason to question all along.
This is the Publisher's Desk with Damon K. Jones, brought to you by Black Westchester Magazine.
Peace and blessings, everybody, and welcome to another segment of the Publisher's Desk. And I'm Damon K. Jones, the publisher of Black Westchester Magazine, blackwestchester.com. And you can check out our new e-paper right on blackwestchester.com. And it's dedicated to Dr. Bob Law, one of the most historic Black radio personalities who spoke truth to power, and he was one of my mentors. And today, brothers and sisters, we have to talk about irony. No, more than irony, accountability. Because one of the most powerful moral gatekeepers in American politics, the Southern Poverty Law Center, the organization that has spent decades labeling other extremists, now stands indicted by a federal grand jury. Let me say that again. They're indicted 11 counts, 6 counts of wire fraud, 4 counts of bank fraud, and 1 conspiracy to commit money laundering fraud. According to the indictment, prosecutors allege at least $3 million went to individuals tied to extremist organizations, including people associated with the Ku Klux Klan.
Good afternoon. Today, a few minutes ago, in the Middle District of Alabama, a grand jury returned an 11-count indictment charging the Southern Poverty Law Center with 6 counts of wire fraud, 4 counts of bank fraud, and 1 count of conspiracy to commit money laundering. According to the charges in the indictment, the SPLC is a nonprofit entity that purports to fight white supremacy and racial hatred by reporting on extremist groups and conducting research to inform law enforcement groups with the goal of dismantling these groups. As the indictment describes, the SPLC was not dismantling these groups. It was instead manufacturing the extremism it purports to oppose by paying sources to stoke racial hatred. The indictment describes this conduct in detail, but one troubling example is that the SPLC was paying a member of the leadership group that planned the Unite the Right protest in Charlottesville, Virginia in 2017 that resulted in the death of 1 person and injured dozens more. This particular person being paid by the SPLC allegedly received approximately $270,000 over the course of 8 years. In total, according to the indictment, between 2014 and 2023, SPLC paid at least $3 million to 8 individuals at least. These individuals were affiliated with the Ku Klux Klan, United Klans of America, National Socialist Movement, Aryan Nations Affiliated Sadistic Souls Motorcycle Club, the Nationalist Socialist Party of America, Nazis, and the American Front. Now, as the indictment lays out, after SPLC paid members of these extremist groups, it created work product that reported on these activities that the members participated in or contributed to. And to that end, it was doing the exact opposite of what it's told its donors it was doing, not dismantling extremism, but funding it. To carry out this scheme, SPLC created bank accounts in the name of at least 5 completely fictitious organizations that had no bona fide employees or legitimate business purpose. The money was passed from SPLC to one sham account to a second sham account and then loaded onto prepaid cards to give to the members of the extremist groups. This was designed to shield the source of those funds, and because of this, SPLC is also charged with one count, as I said earlier, of conspiracy to commit money laundering. In conclusion, I want to thank the acting U.S. Attorney in the Middle District of Alabama, Kevin Davidson, who's in his district right now and not able to be with us, for bringing this important case, along with the FBI team in Alabama for their hard work during this investigation. This investigation is ongoing, and I'd like to ask Director Patel to say a few words as well.
Thank you, General Blanche. What we're here today is to announce what the General just told you. The Southern Poverty Law Center, in a massive, sweeping indictment, has been charged with allegations of fraud and using the banking system to perpetrate that fraud. I just want to talk about a couple of brief things here. The Southern Poverty Law Center themselves advertise to raise money to dismantle violent extremist groups for a period of at least a decade. They use their donor network to raise money to purportedly dismantle violent extremist groups. However, the SPLC, the Southern Poverty Law Center, used the money they raised from their donor network to actually pay the leadership of these very groups. I just want to say that again. They used the fraudulently raised money by lying to their donor network, thousands of Americans, to go ahead and actually pay the leadership of these supposed violent extremist groups. The groups, as the General laid out, include the Ku Klux Klan, the United Klans of America, Unite to Right, National Alliance, the National Socialist Movement, the Aryan Nation Motorcycle Club, and the National Socialist Party of America, and also the American Front.
Now pause. This is the same organization, brothers and sisters, that has called Minister Farrakhan a racist. You can't ignore the irony. Now, let me be clear. An indictment is not a conviction. Facts belong in court, but indictments are not gossip. See, grand juries don't hand out 11-count indictments over rumors. And what's alleged here is serious. Prosecutors say donor money raised to fight extremism may have been routed through shell entities and covert channels into payments involving actors tied to the very extremism the organization claimed to oppose. If true, it is not simply a hypocrisy of the organization, it's fraud. And it's bigger than fraud. It's a credibility crisis. And to be fair, brothers and sisters, they did put out a statement in response to what the federal government was doing.
For 55 years, the Southern Poverty Law Center has stood as a beacon of hope, fighting white supremacy and various forms of injustice to create a multiracial democracy where we can all live and thrive. We are therefore unsurprised to be the latest organization targeted by this administration. They have made no secret of who they want to protect and who they want to destroy. For example, in October, FBI Director Kash Patel announced the Bureau would sever its ties with the SPLC. And in December, House Republicans held a hearing to accuse us of being partisan and profitable. The latest threat is the most serious: a criminal investigation and possible charges against the SPLC or some of our employees. Although we don't know all the details, the focus appears to be on the SPLC's prior use of paid confidential informants to gather credible intelligence on extremely violent groups. This use of informants was necessary because we are no stranger to threats of violence. In 1983, our offices were firebombed, and in the years since, there have been countless credible threats against our staff. For decades, we engaged in unprecedented litigation to dismantle the Klan and other hate groups. In light of that work, we sought to protect the safety of our staff and the public. We frequently shared what we learned from informants with local and federal law enforcement, including the FBI. We did not, however, share our use of informants broadly with anyone to protect the identity and safety of the informants and their families. And while we no longer work with paid informants, we continue to take their safety seriously. These individuals risked their lives to infiltrate and inform on the activities of our nation's most radical and violent extremist groups. When we began working with informants, we were living in the shadow of the height of the civil rights movement, which had seen bombings at churches, state-sponsored violence against demonstrators, and the murders of activists that went unanswered by the justice system. There is no question that what we learned from informants saved lives. Today, the federal government has been weaponized to dismantle the rights of our nation's most vulnerable people, and any organization like ours that tries to stand in the breach. We stood in the vanguard then, and we stand in the vanguard today. We will not be intimidated into silence or contrition, and we will not abandon our mission or the communities we serve. This moment in history finds Americans in a critical struggle between those who continue to pull and bend the arc of history toward justice and those who resist progress. We will vigorously defend ourselves, our staff, and our work. We will continue to fight hate, and we will continue to seek a safer and more just world. We trust that the many people and organizations who share our commitment to defending civil society will stand with us as together we fight injustice.
If you listen to the statement, brothers and sisters, do you see what's happening? They answered the politics. They did not answer the indictment. They gave a moral defense, not a legal defense. Saying that you fought white supremacy for 55 years may be true. Saying informants saved lives may be true. Saying you were targeted politically may even be argued. But none of that by itself answers the allegation of wire fraud, bank fraud, shell entities, money laundering laid out into 11-count indictment. See, this is a distraction. Invoking civil rights struggles does not rebuke charges. Invoking past virtues does not erase present scrutiny. And saying we use informants does not answer whether donor funds were handled lawfully. Those are different questions. They frame criticism of the SPLC as criticism of justice itself. And that is not the case. That is a common move institutions make when challenged. They turn scrutiny into persecution, but accountability is not persecution. Questions are not oppression, and indictments are not victimhood. If the payments were legitimate, intelligent worth, they have to prove it in court. If the shell entities had lawful purpose, they have to show it. If the donors were not misled, they are going to have to demonstrate it. This is how serious institutions answer serious allegations. This is a political story. For years, the SPLC helped shape how the Democratic establishment talked about race, extremism, dissent, and domestic threats. Their opinion on these issues, it influenced the media, it influenced institutions, and it shaped political policy. Now that's power, unelected power. And when unelected institutions with that kind of power, brothers and sisters, faces allegations like this, we have to ask, who has been policing the police for public morality? Who watches the watchdog? And this is where, not by wrapping themselves up in historical righteousness and respectfully, there is an irony hearing an institution talk about defending vulnerable communities, while Black people have long argued the same institution stigmatized voices like Minister Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam. The Minister Farrakhan question comes into. Because for years, the Southern Poverty Law Center has labeled Farrakhan dangerous. See, let's talk about the outcomes. What has been the outcomes of the Nation of Islam? Now, we're not getting into religious differences. We're getting into work that they have done in the Black community. And it's undeniable how many Black men were taken off the corners and made discipline. How many became fathers, business owners, law-abiding citizens, How many lives were rehabilitated through the teachings of responsibility, order, self-sufficiency, and the belief in God? See, that matters because only outcomes matter, brothers and sisters. Now, I'm going to say something controversial, but factual. Whenever people think of Farrakhan, he has been a pillar in the Black community for decades. And the Nation of Islam has produced discipline and institution building in ways many political celebrated organizations haven't even done yet. See, that's honesty, giving credit and giving the flowers that's due to Minister Farrakhan and in the Nation of Islam. But see, here's something. See, controversy is not criminality because he speaks out against certain groups and the government and defending Black people. See, that's not criminality. And disagreement is not extremism. So think about this. Now think about this. An organization that labeled Black nationalist thought dangerous now faces an indictment over alleged payment involving Klan-linked actors and organizations. See, that's not irony, brothers and sisters. That's historical reversal. And it forces a question where some labels, and it forces a question were some labels moral judgment or just political instruments? See, that matters also because labels shape careers. Labels shape public opinion. Labels shape policy. And sometimes labels silence dissent. I'm going to say that again. Sometimes labels silence dissent. So let's understand a standard. What has been the outcome, brothers and sisters, of letting institutions claim moral authority without scrutiny? If these allegations fail, the SPLC fights another day. And if they hold, then one of America's greatest gatekeepers may have exposed something much bigger than fraud. It may have exposed what happens when institutions sit too long beyond accountability. And maybe the deepest irony of all is that those dismissed for questioning the accuser may have a reason to question all along.
Some people would argue that it's better now that the racism is more in our face rather than hidden. What's your perspective on that?
Well, that wasn't the intent of this administration to do a lot of good for us. But the nature of this administration is good for us because now, sometimes you think you're where you are not. And so Trump is letting you know where you really stand. And because of Trump's way, he is an anomaly. There's never been no president quite like Mr. Trump. But there's something that he's doing. I'm going to come out in a few weeks and talk about it. But Trump is destroying every enemy that was an enemy of our rise. Who's the enemy of our rise? Is it the Department of Justice, where we get none? Is it Congress, where you make a law that favors us and then you turn around and destroy it? Is it the media that has destroyed every Black leader that stood up for us, calling us out of our name? Martin Luther King suffered it. Malcolm suffered it. Du Bois suffered it. Marcus Garvey suffered it. So he's attacking the media, calls it fake news. Well, I don't think everything is fake, but I know, I know very well that we have been the victims of some fake news.
Yes.
He's beating up the FBI. Go at it, baby! Yeah. Because they've been beating the hell out of us ever since J. Edgar Hoover and the counterintelligence program of the U.S. government. So go ahead, Mr. Trump.
And I also want to say, brothers, this is the year of 2026. This is the year of exposure. God is going to expose everyone's heart this year. You're going to see who people really are this year. And Black people, we have to get it together. We have to get ourselves together in Black America, because those who are pointing at the racists, we're finding out that they were actually the racists. So we're fighting racists on both sides. That's why we have to come together and start demanding things for our vote. And as you see, what they have accused the Southern Poverty Law Center, not only of the criminal activity, but playing on Black people's emotions. So we have to really examine everything that comes to us, because we are in the fight for Black America's life right now. And it has nothing to do with Trump. It has nothing to do with Trump. It has to do with what our agenda is and sticking to that agenda. And thank you for watching. This is blackwestchester.com, Black Westchester magazine. Check out our new e-magazine that's out right now on blackwestchester.com. We are working hard and giving voices to Black America. And as always, stay safe, stay blessed, and stay Blacktastic. Peace out.
Black Westchester's New Spring 2026 e-paper is now available, featuring the life and legacy of Bob Law, breaking news, and stories that matter to our community. Read it now at blackwestchester.com. We appreciate you taking the time to engage with real conversations, real issues, and real perspectives that matter to Black America. Stay connected, stay informed, and as always, we'll see you next time at the publisher's desk. It's going to be Blacktastic. If you're serious about political clarity and independent thinking, this is for you. The Political Thought Bundle includes 3 full books, all personally singling. Democrats and Republicans, the Ultimate Gangbangers, breaks down how the two-party system operates like a legalized street war for power. Emotional Politics, Logical Failure exposes how emotion has replaced strategy in Black political engagement. Tolerance is for Coward lays out a blueprint for extended policing and community-led public safety rooted in outcomes rather than slogans. 3 signed books. One bundle $60. That's a $75 value, and you're getting signed copies included. This isn't left versus right. It's results versus rhetoric. Go to twosteppublishing.com and secure your signed Political Thought Bundle today. It's going to be Blacktastic. For more than a century, Black America built its own economy under segregation, under discrimination, and under conditions most people today cannot imagine. We built businesses. We built banks. We bought land and property. In The Forgotten Blueprint, Damon K. Jones reveals how Black communities created thriving economic systems from 1800 to 1965, and why that blueprint still matters today. This book challenges the idea that our future depends on politics alone, and shows how ownership, family, and enterprise once powered Black prosperity. The blueprint is not lost. We just stopped using it. The Forgotten Blueprint, how Black America built its own economy from 1800 to 1965. On sale now at Two Step Publishing and Amazon. Black Westchester magazine has been giving our community a voice, reporting the stories others ignore, holding power accountable, and making sure the truth about our communities is told by us. But independent Black media only survives when the community supports it. If you believe in real journalism, community accountability, and keeping Black voices strong in local news, we need your help. Your donation helps us continue covering the stories that matter: politics, education, justice, and economic empowerment right here in Westchester. Support Black media, support Black truth, support Black Westchester magazine. Donate today and help keep Black media alive. Because Black-owned independent media is Blacktastic. Black Westchester magazine presents People Before Politics, the Sunday Rundown, every Sunday at 6 p.m. on YouTube. Join Damon K. Jones, A.J. Woodson, and Larnez Kinsey as they break down the biggest stories in politics, culture, and community from a Black point of view. No spin, no party loyalty, just logic, accountability, and outcomes. If it impacts Black America, We're talking about it. Tap in, subscribe, set your reminder. This Sunday at 6 p.m. is going to be Blacktastic.
This is the Publisher's Desk with Damon K. Jones, brought to you by Black Westchester Magazine, where life, culture, community, and faith meet truth, power, and purpose.